Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle and I own the blog Nomad Moda. And if you haven't been here before, then welcome. Today I wanted to talk to you about the medical aesthetics industry. I've worked in the medical aesthetics industry for a few months. This was years ago. I worked as a content creator and social media manager for a company in Southern California, and I learned a lot in those few months, and there are a lot of things that the medical aesthetics or the medical cosmetics industry is not telling you. So I wanted to discuss these points. First of all, when I say medical aesthetics or medical cosmetics, what I'm referring to is like Botox and fillers and things that, threading, things that will alter your face and the way that others perceive you, your beauty. And also a little bit of plastic surgery as well is something that I will cover in this video. And this video is definitely not to shame anyone who has had work done. It's just to bring awareness to these topics, because there's a lot of things in the medical aesthetics industry that doctors and nurses, nurse practitioners aren't always telling their clients. They're not always being open about the side effects, and I think it's really important for people to know. Things like Botox and filler, especially, it depends where you live, but especially in Los Angeles and Miami and New York City and other parts of the country and the world, have become so commonplace that I think people don't really think about it as something invasive. But there are a lot of complications that can occur. So first of all, let's talk about filler. Actually, before we get into this, I want to say that I haven't had any work done even when I was working at this medical aesthetics place here in Southern California. I never have gotten Botox, I've never gotten filler, I haven't done any plastic surgery, and that's not to say that I never will. I have insecurities like everybody else, and there are, you know, things about my face or my body that I'm like, yeah, I'd like to change. But then when I really think about it and I think what I'm doing and the side effects, I just haven't done it yet because I'm so nervous about the complications that can occur. Yeah, so the reason that I haven't done any of these procedures, even though I've been tempted, and I actually did pay for a gift certificate for Botox and I was planning to do it, but I never actually had it done. So I still have that like $150 gift certificate sitting in my account of Botox that I've never used. And that's not to say that I never will use it and I never would, but I'm hoping that they come up with some better beauty solutions that don't have so many risks and complications. So hopefully in the near future, pharmaceutical companies can come up with something that's a little safer and a little better. So first of all, let's talk about filler. So it's important to know that there are two main types of filler. One is a hyaluronic acid based filler, and that filler can be dissolved. The other types of filler are more permanent filler, and the only way to remove those fillers are through surgery. So if you are getting filler, it's important that you're doing a hyaluronic acid based filler. And what that means is that when that filler is put into your face or your body, that it can be then broken down by the body, so they say, and it can also have a hyaluronidase injected into it. So if the filler is in a place, it's injected into your face or body and you don't like the way it looks, then you're going to have a hyaluronidase injected into it, and it breaks down the hyaluronic acid filler and your body is able to reabsorb it. That is what they tell you anyhow. But what is not so known is that whenever you have filler injected, but I saw this most commonly in the lips, when you have filler injected into your lips per se, it moves. So they don't necessarily tell you this, that filler can move around your face. So the filler that's injected into the lips, it often moves from the lip up towards the nose, and any filler that is injected into your face can move around. So that's why you see like older women who have had a lot of filler throughout their lifetime, their face starts to look kind of puffy. Also, the hyaluronic acid based filler, it can be broken down by the body and reabsorbed, but that takes a lot of time, and in some cases 8 to 10 years. So if your filler is misplaced, also there can be complications with how the filler kind of gathers, and it can get lumpy under your skin. And then when we're talking about permanent fillers, it's really important that you're going to a doctor who is very experienced and knows what they're doing, because if they do not place the permanent filler correctly, then that's something that you can only get removed with surgery. Obviously, that's something that you want to avoid. Also, in relation to filler, there's a procedure that's pretty popular, which is a non-surgical nose job. So instead of going to a plastic surgeon and having a nose job done, the filler is placed in the nose, and this is kind of an optical illusion. It's actually because with rhinoplasties, quite often they are reducing the actual size of the nose. So they're removing cartilage, sometimes they break the nose, sometimes these procedures are open or they're closed. It depends on the type of surgery that you get. But with the non-surgical nose job, it's closed, obviously. It's not actually surgery. They're just injecting. It's not surgery, but that's not to say that there aren't complications and it isn't a serious procedure. So they are taking injectables and putting them in the nose, sometimes at the tip, or if you have a bump on your nose, they put it at the top of the nose to make the nose profile look more straight. So this isn't changing the structure of the nose, and that's why a lot of people go for it, because there are a lot of complications that can happen with breaking the nose or removing cartilage through surgery. And with rhinoplasties, oftentimes the nose structure is so broken down that your nose can actually fall over time, and that changes the shape of the nose. So that's definitely something to consider if you're going for a rhinoplasty and you're going for surgery. But with the non-surgical nose job, what a lot of people aren't aware of is that it's actually pretty dangerous, because your optical nerve, which runs from the nose up to the eye, is very close to where the doctors are injecting filler. So if they are not super careful, super trained, they can inject filler into that optical artery and you will immediately go blind, and that is irreversible. And I have never seen this happen, thank God, but it just it scares me so much to think, like, just the vanity of wanting your nose to look a little bit more beautiful, but you're willing to risk losing your vision for that is just, it's a really scary thought to me. In addition to the non-surgical nose jobs where you're getting injections into your nose rather than surgery, it never lasts. So if you're choosing a hyaluronic acid based filler, which is the better filler to choose, you're going to have to keep going back and going back, because once again the filler moves. So if you're putting it in the tip of your nose or the bridge of your nose, that filler is likely to be broken down, reabsorbed by the body, or move across the bridge of your nose and down kind of to the sides or up. It can really move anywhere across the face. So with that, then you have to get the hyaluronidase and have that filler broken down and reabsorbed by the body, or you're getting more filler put in, and it only lasts like 3 to 6 months max. So it's something that you would have to continue doing over time to keep the shape of the nose. And with surgery, that's more permanent, more permanent solution. So you hopefully only have to go once. I mean, there's a lot of times where there's complications and people need reconstructive surgery for their rhinoplasty. Over time, when you're looking at decades, the injectables for a non-surgical nose job are less expensive initially, but you're gonna need to keep going back every 6 months, and so it becomes a very, very costly thing to keep up, where the surgical nose job is hopefully just once and done. I had a lot to say about fillers. That's why I covered it first. Those are the main things that I think people don't really know when they consider going in for filler. Oh, one last thing about lips. When you get injections in your lips, actually this is anywhere on the face, anytime you are injected with filler, you can develop scar tissue, but this happens specifically around the lips. So you want as few injection points as possible, but when you're shaping the lips, it's kind of hard to do that because you want to keep the natural shape of a lip, and not just place filler wherever. So oftentimes it's like they put filler on the side of your lip, they put it in the middle of your lip, and they put it oftentimes at the point to keep the cupid's bow of the lip. And anytime they are injecting a needle into your lip, you can develop scar tissue from the needle being injected, and it feels like a little hard ball within your lip. In addition to that, when you're getting filler injected into your lips, it will move, and when it does move, your lip starts to look deflated. So this is something, once you start, it's really hard to stop. So your lip almost looks like a deflated balloon. The skin is kind of saggy. That's mostly what I had to say about filler. And then moving on to Botox. In my personal opinion, Botox there are less complications, but I have also seen that you need to go to someone who is really skilled and knows which muscles to inject the Botox into, because they can inject it into the wrong muscles and then you can have like some facial paralysis. And I actually did see this happen, unfortunately, where the client wanted Botox on their face. It was injected into the wrong muscle and paralyzed part of their face, and this was right before a huge event that they were going to. There's not much you can do when this happens. You just have to wait for the Botox to wear off, which it depends on the person, but can take up to 3 to 6 months. It was of course temporary, luckily, but that is a risk, and that is something that can happen. And then in addition with Botox, this isn't something that is really discussed very much, but it is the most toxic chemical, and it's been used for a long time without complications for most people, but there are a few cases where people have allergic reactions. I was a little nervous to try it just because I am sensitive to things. I have very sensitive skin, and yeah, just fear of needles and getting it injected into my face, so that's why I didn't do it. But it is mixed with saline most of the time. It's a very, very small, it's diluted, so a very, very small amount that is being injected into your face, into your muscles, and it is helpful for other things. So people use it for excessive sweating. I mean, obviously it's most known for reducing wrinkles because it's being injected into the muscle, so it's stopping the nerves from communicating with your muscles, which to me is a little bit of a scary thought, but you know, do what you want. Yeah, I'm really just hoping that there are some more options out there soon. And I think that with Botox, if you're going to do it, the most important thing is really balance. Like, start small, because you don't want to inject too much. It's better to inject too little, see how your body and your face reacts to it, and then you can always inject more. But once you inject too much, it's in there and you just have to wait for it to wear off. The other uses of Botox, other than reducing wrinkles, it can be used for excessive sweating, hypohidrosis, and it can be used for TMJ, your temporomandibular joint. So this is actually something that I have struggled with. It's actually TMD, temporomandibular disorder, and it is commonly referred to as TMJ just because that's the joint. So this is in your jaw where you have tension and clenching. So I have a lot of trouble sleeping, as you know, but part of that is, most of it is due to anxiety, but one of the effects of the anxiety is the temporomandibular disorder. So I clench and grind my teeth at night, and Botox was something that I was considering doing to help that. It kind of relaxes the jaw muscle. But one thing to be careful of if you're considering doing this is using Botox for this reason, is that it stops kind of the muscles from working, and one thing that can happen is you lose muscle along your jawline and your face starts to look thinner. So I haven't seen that too noticeably, and a lot of people have said that it helped with their TMJ. I haven't tried it, but that is just something to consider as well, that you can lose that sort of muscle mass, if you will. And I think the last topic that I am going to talk about is threading. So this is used quite frequently. It's called threading because thread is pushed into the face under the skin, and it's often used for wrinkles and to sort of do like a non-surgical facelift or a brow lift. So I've seen it throughout the entire face. I've seen it on the neck, and to reduce wrinkles on the face. This is sometimes an option if people are not interested in doing filler or Botox. And so these threads are put in through the face with a needle. Oftentimes there's 3 or 4 if you're doing a brow lift, and they sometimes start at the bottom and push it up, or start at the top and push it through, and it allows the doctor to sort of pull up your face or your brow. These can be really effective, but I've also seen that people have gone through the entire procedure, if you will. It's considered non-surgical, but it's actually, from what I've seen, quite invasive and quite painful. With all of this stuff, actually, sometimes it works really well for people, and then sometimes it doesn't, and there isn't much of a difference. And they've gone through all of those injections or the threading and the pain, and their issue still persists, or what they see as an issue still persists. And then with the threads as well, they're threads that are typically used in surgery for stitching people up, so your body can break them down. However, when they are under the surface of the skin, oftentimes you can see them. There can be complications. Sometimes they will actually come out. So if you think about it, they're being put in through a needle, so you're creating a little bit of a hole in your skin, and if they're not properly placed, then they can start slipping out of your skin. Sometimes they're used in the lips. People don't want filler or in addition to filler, and it actually happened to one of my family members where the thread was coming out of their lip while they were on vacation, and they had to fly back to Los Angeles and get that fixed. To say with all of this, obviously, of course, it's your choice, and I understand why people do this. There's Botox, filler, threading, all these injectables and different things to change their appearance, because in this world with social media, and there's just so much pressure. There's so much societal pressure through social media, pressure to, you know, look your best, and I get it, and I'm working in fashion and beauty, so I really do completely understand. And the reason, like I said before, for me making this video is just so that people know the side effects and the complications that can occur, and really take into consideration these things before they go in for these medical aesthetic injectables or procedures. So I hope this video really helps you if you are considering any of these things, and of course, no judgment. You know, I really do understand why you would want to do this, and it's something that I've never done, like I said, but it's not to say that I never will do it. So yeah, I hope this really helps. If you have more questions, you can ask them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them with the knowledge that I have. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. So waiting for these sirens to pass.